And breaking news as we come on the air, Jason Robertson is not yet a Dallas Star yet again, but it does kind of seem like they are moving. It's just a bit. Bro.
I know
it
it is. I'm not going to let it happen. It's the third time it's happened.
It's the fourth.
And I can sense it. Is it the fourth?
It's
You
the
do it off
fourth.
the top and then after this fourth?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've done it many times now at this point. It seems like he wants to be here. It seems like as this continues to develop.
Heavy sigh. That wasn't just.
I don't
for your
know. I don't know.
breaking
I
news
don't. I mean,
thing.
I
It
don't
was
know if
for-
it's gonna happen.
I want to believe that he wants to be here, but there's also a part of me that thinks he just didn't want to go to the Kraken.
Could be part of both.
Yeah.
But look at it this way: the hiring of the agent, the same agent who got contracts done for what it was Wyatt Johnston,
Harley. Yeah.
Was it
Harley
Harley?
too, right? I thought.
So clearly, that is at least a pathway toward, in theory, a deal with the Stars. If you've got the same agent with a guy who's made deals with Jim Neal before, it certainly would lend you to believe like this is a trajectory to get a deal done.
The
But-
David Mugoleta of...
The anti-David Mulligetta.
Inverse. Yeah.
Emily Kaplan, who works for ESPN, was on Puckpedia's podcast this morning talking about this situation, and I quote, Jason Robertson wants to stay in Dallas. That is his number one destination where he'd like to play.
Okay, I will believe Emily. And then when it comes out that they're trading him, my heart will be shattered into a million billion
See, that the
pieces.
phrasing there is tough. Like, of course, this is where he'd want to play.
Right.
But if the offer is not what he wants, then maybe he has to go to option number 2.
That's the thing. What does he want? Right? Because if he wanted money, I feel like he'd be in Seattle.
We talked about this the other day. Like, it's not, I mean, yes, it's the money, but is it also, we know the Stars can't give him 15. We've talked about that. But can the Stars give him an A?
I feel like they already tried to, though. Like, the first offer that they sent him wasn't bad by any stretch. Like, there are a ton of really good players that make that kind of money. Or less, practically.
Yeah.
But that's the question. Is like, as much as we
No
dog
state
on-
income tax.
That's part of it. But
That's what Dusty
Doesn't
May said
hurt.
he was excited about yesterday.
Seriously, that is a legitimate thing that is now being brought up in more press conferences, rightfully so.
It's
That
part
is
of
an
how the
actual
floor-
thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's
a
why
14 mil a year in Dallas goes probably just as far as a 15 in Seattle,
Yeah.
or Boston.
yeah,
It's part of why the Florida Panthers have been able to build the roster that they have. It's part of why Dallas has been able to do what
Florida,
it's done in the last
Tampa,
couple of
Vegas,
years.
Carolina, all of these
ask you
teams.
guys
Yeah.
to pause for a second and explain to our viewers, our other 2 viewers that are not sports heads, and explain what this qualifying offer means with free agency opening up tomorrow.
I don't know that it means a whole lot in regards to Jason Robertson. I think it's just a part of the process.
Yeah.
I think for the other 2 guys,
Huru and Bork.
yeah, that's a scenario where that's probably, just indicative of, hey, we're bringing these guys back, and it's probably going to be at that qualifying number. I think it's just relative to Jason Robertson, it's just one link in the chain as they continue through this negotiation, trying to figure out the
Is
actual
this
number.
less of a statement about Robertson and more of a statement about the Stars saying we're not done trying to get this done?
I do think that's part of it.
they're not done.
Yeah.
No,
This is still going on.
They would love to keep Robo, and it's another way to kind of protect themselves on the backside.
Well,
like if
that-
we have to trade him, we get draft pick compensation.
Right.
And the other problem with this is they're trying to figure out the Robo scenario while free agency is about to open up.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
And like if you're not going to have Robo, you need a contingency plan.
Right.
Okay, this is a wild question. Knowing how solid he was for the team this year, do they need a contingency plan? Their roster is pretty deep, and if they're keeping people like Huru and keeping people like Bork and keeping people like Johnston and
Yes, they need a contingency plan.
Jonah's looking at me like I have never said anything stupider in my life.
He was top 4 in goal scoring last year.
I understand all that, but
What are we talking about?
I mean, I want him to stay, but it's not like he's the only hope of the team.
I feel like a lot of Stars fans don't properly appreciate Jason Robertson.
I would agree with
I'm
that.
sorry, excuse me.
I really, it's true. I hear a lot of people talk about Robertson the way like some Cowboys fans talked about Micah Parsons. I'm like, you've
But he's
got
no longer a Cowboy.
yeah, but he is one of the best defensive players in the NFL.
And did it
Jason
work out
Robertson's
okay
one of the
when he
best
left?
offensive threats in the NHL. You're just gonna give that up and be
really
like, we
didn't.
got a bunch of other great guys who can't stay healthy.
I'm just saying, like,
It really didn't work out okay when he left.
It didn't.
really,
I'm
really,
saying,
really
like,
didn't.
If he leaves, it's not like they're without anybody. Obviously, they're without somebody who's really, really good. And like I said, I don't want to see him leave, but it's not like they.
If he leaves without a contingency plan, I would need Stars fans to be. That would be the first time I think I would be ever critical of Jim Nill.
I think the question, though, where Robo's concerned is, again, like he's benefited just as much from playing on a team that has the depth that it has. He's a top-flight scorer, but when you got to worry about other guys on the roster, and maybe you take a breath thinking, oh, thank goodness Miko's not out, or thank goodness Wyatt Johnston isn't out when he's on a heater. That's
But
been
Robo
part of
was
the
like
fun.
the only guy who could score in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it didn't
the
work.
playoffs had its own set of issues. And I
Like
don't want to talk
there
about
are
it. It
there are
makes me
countless
sad.
there are countless examples over the last couple of years of teams that have been high octane offense, trading offense to get better defense. Because again, the blue line's been the primary issue for Dallas anyway. But trying to get better in other areas, and it's been the reason why they've gotten over the hump because they didn't need to score 5 to win. They only needed to score 3 and hold the other team to 2. So it's like the Florida Panthers right before they went on their run. They basically traded their best offensive player and ended up getting one of the Kachucks. Now, granted, they got both of them now, which sucks. But the point being is they went all in on the physical, defensive, hard-nosed, minded guys, and it paid off. Sometimes you changing the tenor of your team that way does make a difference.
Before we hit the 2-minute warning, between the other two, Huru and Bork, who are you more excited about? For me, it's Huru.
For me,
Really?
probably Mav.
I'm more on
Yeah.
the Bork side of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I like-
Nil is pretty hype on Mav.
Yeah. I think Bork's ceiling, I don't think we've seen it yet.
I don't
And-
think we've seen Huru's either.
Well, that's probably also
I really
true.
liked
Yeah.
what we got out of him this year after they brought him in. I mean,
Yeah. We need the Top Gun with Mav at some point. Need to really lean into that.